Hello everybody, welcome back to the third and but certainly not least part of the Dustforce community map review that I'm doing. And we'll start right with the next one, Radio Tower. I actually don't remember this one, just judging from the picture. Ah, now I remember it. Great, I love this. It's it's just as great concept and it plays really well. Interesting mechanics, really interesting visuals, especially at the end. I forgot how long this is actually. Now we see some lightning going on here. So quite a big, tall tower here. Love it, great map. Definitely recommending playing that one. I actually recommend playing pretty much all of them. I think they're all worth doing. Retract. Very interesting right from the get-go visually. Gameplay's really great too. It actually looks probably more difficult than it actually is. I think this is one of the easier levels. I think the end part here requires some form of decent air control, but aside from that, I think this should be doable for most people, even when just starting out. Or by starting out, I mean like played like 20 hours, something along those lines. Great map as well, really enjoyable. Next, Retrace. This is one of the insanely hard levels as well. Again, we had a couple of those already, but yeah. The first at the start is actually quite doable. And here you need quite some momentum to actually get across before they stomp you. Also really interesting, I think you have to use the super there. I'm not sure if it's doable without it. Some air control here, very tight spaces. Gameplay is great. Those sections play really well. This is the hard part because I quite often had not enough momentum. It's actually quite hard to get enough momentum to go all the way up and clean up everything. So yeah, it took me quite a while, this one. Next one, Revel. I think this is one of the very minimal ones in terms of visual style, but it's still like it has its own flair. It looks great. It's very straightforward gameplay wise, just a lot of sliding and dashing but really enjoyed this one as well. And I think the gameplay fits the visuals pretty perfectly. Oh, and this is the end. Very short one, a very easy one, but still very great level. Like I think it's probably quite hard to actually make a very simplistic level, but still have it play great. Next one is Roof. N. Whatever that N means, I have no idea. And I actually can't remember this one. Not... Well, I have done it apparently. But and I think it plays great from what I can see, but I completely forgot this one actually. I think this is one of the earlier ones I did. Not, like I said, really don't remembering this one. But it seems to look and play great, from what I can tell. It's one of the few city-themed levels, I would say. I'm not sure. I think city is... I think lab is probably more underrepresented. There are a couple of city levels coming up. Not sure. Maybe I... speaking completely crap. Rooftop Run. This is another one that I struggled actually with quite heavily. There is some tight timings, and I can't really point out some part specifically that is difficult. I think this one is probably the hardest to actually get up here correctly. But it's just... I've messed this one up on various different points in the level. So it's not an insanely hard level, but it's also not like a one that I would say is easy by any means. And obviously when you have a big guy at the end and you don't have a super, it's always a little bit frustrating. So that's the hideout. The hideout issue. Next, Ruined Civilization. I think this is another really excellent one. One of the maps where going fast is the name of the game. And plays great. Short. Really enjoyable. Love it. Nothing more to say. Alright. What do we have next? Ruined Temple. I love this one. This was so much fun. Even though I think I fucked this up horribly at some point. This is another one where going fast is the name of the game, and art style absolutely fantastic. It really looks and feels like a temple, has very unique visuals. Great gameplay. Like, I think this is probably one of my favorites in the map pack. Like, not sure whether I fucked up somewhere. It looks pretty okay, this run. Like, I'm nowhere near anywhere at the top, but that's fine for me. I'm enjoy the way I'm enjoying not to compete for top positions. I think that would be frustrating for me. Next one, Ruined Tower. Another absolutely fantastic one. Like, visually alone, just absolutely fantastic. And the gameplay as well is so good. Like, except maybe this part, which I didn't really understood. Obviously I haven't played this map too often. Oh my god. Oh, this is embarrassing. No. I wish I maybe have spent some more time on this level, because it's actually really good. And I really enjoyed this one. But I haven't played it that much. But it's great. Like, even though I think I thought this was the end. Not sure why, but because it was obviously another guy standing right above. But yeah, love it. Fantastic map. Another one, like, I think all these ones, this ruined trilogy, if you will, they're not really hard. If you not mind going slow, but they play great. Next one, Zankaku. Hope that I pronounced that correctly. Probably not. Also very interesting, unique art style. It's a fairly short air control level. Nothing too difficult, but I wouldn't say it's an easy level. Like, even the ones I would say are not too difficult, probably also gold difficulty in at least some form. Like, no, fucked up the boost there. Too bad. That's always sad. Anyway, good. Also really enjoyed this map. Like, visually great, gameplay was great. Next up, Shade. Another map that I absolutely adore. Like, all these foresty maps, I generally love the foresty maps anyway, but it flows greatly. It's gameplay is great. Can go fast, but also has some combat in it that's really well implemented. Not my best effort, but yeah, plays great. This one is fairly difficult, I think. Ooh, Skyline. I struggled a lot with this one, and there's primary one section, which is coming up right now. So what happens is, when you go too fast, you bump into the spikes. At least I haven't found any possibility to prevent that. Visually great. I love the contrast between the color of the prisms and the dust and the overall color of the map. I think that works very well. Like, it makes it really easy to see the dust, and I really appreciate that. Plus, it's a map where you can go quite fast. I think even faster than I'm doing right now. So love it. Like, there was this one awkward section in the middle that I didn't quite grasp. But aside from that, I think plays great, looks great, fantastic. Zolan. This is another really difficult level, at least at the start. This section is insanely hard, and I love the art style here. It's phenomenal. But it's a little bit sad that it actually fades into some more generic elements here. Like, yeah, it's just, I think it had some really unique gameplay going at the start, and now it's a bit more generic, and yeah, it's probably a little bit of a missed opportunity for me. But anyway, I think generally the level plays great. There's nothing wrong with it in terms of gameplay. It's just a little bit generic here, the second half of it. And yeah, hard level generally. Like, took me quite a long time to get the beginning down. So, but definitely one I really like the art style here. Man, so good. Starlight Zone. Okay. I don't remember this one. I think this is a relatively easy level. Plays great though. Yeah, now I remember. This is the one with loops. Okay. Yeah, plays great. It's another map where you probably want to go fast. Oh, missed the flag in the end. Too bad. Shame on me. But yeah, love it. Art style is great too. Like it's, there are so many different things you can do in Dustforce. It's so crazy. Like what you can do visually with basically 4 or 5 themes. Like if you can count the virtual theme as well. Next up we have Starlit City. Not sure about this one. Can't remember this one. So this is very cool idea with the science. It's a little bit immersion breaking, I would say, but not. It's still, regardless, a really cool idea. Also has some interesting gameplay. It's relatively straightforward. I don't know. Looks great now, but I really don't remember much of this level actually. So that's a lot of my issues with, or it's not an issue with the level, or it's more of an issue that the easy levels I don't play as often, and therefore I don't remember them as well. So, but I think this plays great, and it looks great too. Has some really interesting design ideas. This one, on the other hand, is the one that I remember very well. I think this is another one of these fantastically, visually very deliberate art style levels. It's just so good. Like the style is great, and it also plays very well. It has some pretty unique gameplay elements, as far as I can tell. Oh, not a good run though. I have to admit that. I mean, it is pretty atrocious. I think this is one of the ones I did at the earliest. I think this is one of those levels I've done casually at some point, and it just plays really well. I think this is a level that everybody should play. It's not too difficult, but it's also not a level that I would say is easy. I would say this is hard silver, if that makes sense. Next up, we have a very easy level, Flooded Cave. Great visually. Love this. It looks a little bit like a mine, I feel. I mean, there are probably not too many waterfalls in mines, but apart from that, like the the construction here looks a little bit mine-ish. There are also some boxes stacked there in the background, and plays great too. Very easy though. And by very easy, I mean that probably everyone should be able to assess this. It's really hard to say sometimes. Like, I think most of these maps are designed for people that have a certain amount of experience. Some even require quite advanced tech. But I think this one especially is one that can be done early on without too much experience in the base game. And this map is orange. Indeed it is. Love it. It's this one and the next map, they play quite similarly in some regards, but also quite difficult and quite different in some regards. They are relatively difficult, Not super hard. I would say actually that the difficulty here on at this and the next map is fairly. This is fairly, actually very well designed. And this one is the easier ones of the two. And orange is the theme. Really not too much going on. Otherwise, I think this map is focused on the gameplay. Actually, what I also really like is that there are some arrows here that actually show you the direction you have to go. I think that is a really nice touch that helps a lot navigating the map. Makes it much easier to first figure out what's going on and what you have to do. Purple. This map is purple. Yes, like stylistically same as the last one. I would assume that this and the last one are made by the same map makers. So plays great too. Like gameplay is really, really good. Doesn't look as much, but it flows really well. Like the way the distances are calculated here and the prisms are separated just works really well. At least with Dustman. I actually really don't know how well pretty much all the maps play with other characters. So sorry in case someone really don't like to play Dustman. Yeah, great map, love it. Really enjoyed grinding this one. Fairly difficult, and by fairly mean quite a lot. Like took me quite a while to assess this one. To the skies. Oh, this is visually one of the most gorgeous ones. See the imitate fire at the bottom. Not sure if it's rising or supposed to rise. Plays great as well. Like just so unique visually. Gameplay is good too. Relatively straightforward, I would say. A lot of air control in this level. And relatively average difficulty, I would say. The visuals are like, man. Also the blocks, I don't know if you can see my mouse, the blocks, they don't look as much, but they just work really, really well color-wise with the rest of the level. And also now the transition from a red to a more purple just looks fantastic. Whoop. Missed the hit there a little bit. Adding some dust unintentionally. Anyway, yeah, love it. Great. Especially visually, but the gameplay is not to underestimate. And next up we have a tower. Not too big of a fan to name a level exactly like a stock level, but this is actually a very cool, unique playing level, I think. I think this is another one of those levels that have just absolutely great level design. It's plays really, really well. It has a variety of different quick gameplay elements, and yeah, fantastic. You definitely should play this. It has a great difficulty too, like doable for most people, I would say, and not too frustrating, but still challenging in a lot of ways. So I really like that, and yeah, map is fantastic. What is not fantastic is my time here. Next up we have tower construction. this is grade 2. Probably not as good as the last one, but I think this is relatively straightforward gameplay wise. Also the shapes are relatively straightforward as far as I can tell. I don't really remember this one too much. Oh yeah, now next comes a little climbing section. Always like those. Very well spaced. Plays really smoothly. And about average length. Pretty easy. Great. Love it. Next, Treasure Hill. This is another one of my personal favorite. Love the art style. Love the theme. Plays great. Yeah, also like a lot of right gameplay elements. Like, it's nothing completely unique, but it's just the combination. It just plays really well and makes for a very enjoyable map. And I think this is the most important thing that you can get right in making a map. So, and I think this excels spectacularly in that regard. So I love it. Also the little rose there. Just great detail. This is a nice section as well. I had to figure out what was going on here. The end is also quite unique. You have to push him down and then you can super him with the rest. Like, it's just the combination of stuff, and it has some fairly unique stuff too. So yeah, love it. Definitely one of my favorites. And this one is probably, and by probably mean maybe the best level in the map pack. Like, definitely, this is definitely the top 5 level. This is tutorial extended, and it plays like a tutorial, but it is so much more. It's just like, I can't even describe how good this map is. Like, you really feel like you're playing a tutorial, but at the same time it's so much more, and it's a fairly long map, and it always has this relatively boring parts in between where you just dash a little bit and move basically straight. But it just, the combination of stuff that has been done here is just so great. And yeah, you actually have to use a variety of different things here, but they are all done in a very simple manner, so that it's basically teaching you the tech, if that makes sense. And it's just, it's great. It's fantastic. I really have a hard time describing what I really like, because it may look very simple, but it's actually much more than it looks like. It plays absolutely fantastic. Boom, baby, boom. Indeed. Love it. Ah, so nice. Tutorial extended, definitely one of my absolute favorites here. Next up, Twin Temples. This is another one of these really hard maps, and one that I really also enjoy. Yeah, need some fall timings there. Have to juggle a heavy armored knight here, which is quite interesting and unique. Need some delayed hits. Dash through there. This one was fairly tricky to balance this chest. This section killed a lot of my attempts. But it's great. I love this level. Really hard though, but great unique gameplay. Visually cool, like nothing too much out of the ordinary, but it's still great. I think this is definitely level though that is made for gameplay. Next up, Vertigo. This is another very vertical level. Plays great though, as a variety of different gameplay elements too. Yeah, love it. Little night temple end section here. Have to get things right. Delayed attacks because you need to make the jump. At least that's what I had the impression. Yeah, plays absolutely great. Great gameplay. I think the music selection doesn't maybe work quite well here. It's a little bit too action-packed for this music, I would say. But nonetheless, excellent level, I would say. Like most. Next up, Vert. This one is... looks great too, as it's really own art style virtual level mixed with some other stuff. Plays great too. Average difficulty, I would say. There's some weird angles incorporated here that are a little bit challenging first to actually get the hang of it, at least for me. But yeah, plays great, looks great. Absolutely solid, good map. Nothing too crazy here, but still great. Next up, Virtual Circus. This is also one of my absolute favorites. Just the way the shapes are arranged, like it really feels very circusy, and I think this is quite a an accomplishment to actually have nothing that actually looks exactly like anything that could be in a circus, but you have these rings where people make acrobatic stuff in them, and you have to. The level also involves very acrobatic gameplay, which I think fits the theme perfectly. So I'm really impressed with this one. Especially like the way the shapes are used, also with the background. It's just lots of air control in this one, which you would expect from a map that has circus in the name. So yeah, love it. Great, one of the best, I would say. Actually really difficult, not one of the hardest, but nonetheless really difficult. Next up, Water Temple. Love the art style, fantastic. It's also a map where you can go fast. Actually more difficult for me than it may look. Has a lot of places where I actually managed to fuck up, despite it being relatively short. But yeah, also awesome, great map, like all of them. I'm actually like I'm super happy that I can I can pretty much say to every map that it is great, aside from maybe some that just don't cater to me as much. Next up, Wilcor Revisited. So this is revolving around slope boosts, and that's the name of the game. There isn't too much else. We have the little climbing section here, but like most is slope boosting, and yeah, I think it's definitely a good map. I had a lot of fun actually with this one. Haven't played it too much, as it was fairly easy for me because my slow boosting is usually decent, I would say, at least. So but I can see if people struggle with slow boosting that they have a really hard time with this one. Next up, Willows. This is not a relatively difficult level. I think the music here fits really well. I think this is a good map for this type of music. Like, it's the art is complementing the music as well too. So it's relatively short, but most of the parts are challenging. This section is a bit awkward. I think there are ways to not have to kill those blocks with hits, with attacks, but I just, yeah, I wasn't able to really figure out the intention in there. Next up we have Wolf Chase Updated. That would suggest that we have a normal wolf chase, and I think this is one of the easiest levels. I think I've done this on the first or second try, and it looks quite awkward. It's very unique in the fact that you actually get chased by wolves. I'm not sure what actually happened there. Yeah, very interesting, unique concept. A little bit too gimmicky for my taste, but it's super short, it's super easy, and okay, the demo was a little bit bugged out here for some reason. Happens sometimes in Dustforce. Next up, Wonderland. I think this is one of the few levels that I've grinded a decent time, or for my, at least for my for my comparison. So I've actually tried to go a little bit faster here, and yeah, Wonderland, a great theme, fits. It's really well executed. This is another map that I really love. Really enjoyed my time here, and yeah, it's like the flowers, the art here is absolutely spectacular. Really, you can see that this map maker has put a lot of effort into this map. It plays great as well. So yeah, not too satisfied with the end here, but with my performance at the end. Level is absolutely great though. You definitely, it's also an easy level, so it's probably one that can be done fairly early on. Next up we have Wuxen A. Probably pronounced horribly wrong. This is... Oh, I fucked up already at the start. Also, this one also is quite unique in terms of gameplay. It is also relatively difficult. The the starting here is not too bad, I think, for difficulty wise, but the ending requires actually quite decent air control. So here we are. But it's a lot of fun actually grinding this out. So yeah, absolutely great map. Also with the gargoyle there, and the end. Really enjoyed this one too. May not look like something special at first, but I think it plays really well. Next up, Warnscape. Scrape. This one took me also a while to figure out what's going on here, especially at the start. So this is also a difficult level, fairly at least. Definitely one of the harder levels. Not sure why I've used so many light attacks here. I think that would be more efficiently if I used heavy there. But maybe I've done this relatively early on. I actually can remember. Oh, this is fucked up there a bit. But yeah, solid map overall. Like, gameplay's good. Recommended as well. And last but not least, this is the last map, Ypsilon Andromedae. This is also one that I struggled with a lot. Really hard map. Start is actually not too bad. Some fall timings here. I fucked this up a lot. Same as this next section that is coming up now. Getting this jump done was really difficult for me. This was a little bit awkward as well. Like, I love that the prisms change the color. That is a really nice touch and gives some special flair to the map. So I think gameplay-wise this is very well done. Otherwise, visually it's more rather basic map. This end section is insanely difficult as well. It's definitely not the hardest level, but I struggled with this one a ton. I even had to take it slow here to not fuck up the run. And that's it. That was all levels. I actually have no idea how many levels they are, but it's definitely over. It's not definitely over 100, but I would assume it's over 100. I don't want to give you wrong information here. Yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. If so, please leave a comment below. I would really appreciate that. Thank you very much, and see you. Bye bye.